saying EACC and the institutions, DCI, should actually not even be paid salaries as far as working is concerned. And I'm yet to hear from Honorable Kibagendi and then Honorable Ditmas, because Nyamira, county headquarters, that was the project. In fact, to see that a county headquarters project is stalled, 382.97 million shillings. I mean, Kenyans have nothing to smile about.
Absolutely. One, I would like to pick up from where my colleague, Honorable Mulatana, left by stating that EACC and DCI need to improve in the way they do their investigations and in the way they actually deal with this wastage of resources at especially the county level and even at the national level. One of the greatest challenges we have is EACC has what we call low-lying fruits. When the Auditor General, control of budgets, all these come up with these issues, those are the issues that you need to quickly pick up and stop further hemorrhage, and stop further wastage, and stop further corruption. And this is something that needs to be done almost immediately, because EACC nowadays has adequate personnel in the regions, and DCI is actually in every sub-county. And they should be able to have some synergy and be able to deal with these issues at that level. And sometimes you find that they are used for political expediency. They'll be used to fight some politicians, let's say under Bodidimas here, purely to try and bring him down, yet there are genuine issues being raised about some counties. Now, one of the challenges we face as a country, including at the national level, is when someone is elected, they don't seem to carry on with the projects that were started by the former regime.
All right.
Which is unfortunate. Whereby, like now, Didimas Baraza is the next governor for Bungoma. I would request that he doesn't forget, he doesn't, again, ignore the projects that were started by Governor Speaker Lusaka.
Do they then present reasons why they're not proceeding with this? There have been issues where...
The issue here is, on issues to do with brick and mortar, anywhere in government, that is where people get the most cuts. That is where people get the most commissions. That is where people are able to swindle money. And that is why, if whatever ministry, they are constantly constructing something, building something, even when we don't need any further construction. So, when they get that you've constructed up to this point, they'll feel like if we put in money there, we'll not be able to get as much as if we put in money in a fresh startup, a fresh project. And that has happened, including in CDF projects. Yeah. So what I did, like myself, Honorable Baraza here was saying I'm a first-time member of parliament.
Yes.
There's always a first time. When I got into parliament and we started receiving CDF funds, the first thing we did with my team is to identify projects that were incomplete in the constituency, and we have put in resources to try and complete them, yeah? So that by the third year of my service as a member of parliament, now we can declare that we've finished all projects that had stalled, and we'll be continuing now with the ones that started in my time. And I hope in the 5 years that I'm serving, we'll be able to have at least 90% of our projects complete, other than the 2 new schools that we want to start, one in Botori and one at Nyabigena. That one will not be able to finish in this time, but they'll have started. However, the other projects, we want to try and ensure they're actually complete before we get there. So it is not just about projects, it is about policies. The Kenya Kwanza government, when they got into power, there's something President Uhuru Kenyatta had started called Linda Mama, that was helping expectant mothers. That, again, is a project that if it was a project, you'd call it a stalled project, because that has stopped.
No, the CS Nakumincha spoke on this already, in fact, from yesterday.
No, it stopped, and they said up to July.
Okay.
I sit in the health committee.
All right.
That is one. Number two, there was Eduafia that was supporting students in secondary school that has been stopped. It is not just about projects. It is about policies. When government comes into power, you need to take up the responsibilities of the former government. And if you're going to do away with those policies, you have to follow due procedure. Like now, they're frustrating doctors. I had Didmas dismiss doctors the other day in a village, Baraza, dismissing people who've been in school for 6-7 years, yet he has served in the military, where he never missed salary, even one month. He knows that, Honorable Didmas. The police never miss salaries, and when their time for additional salaries increment comes, there is no discussion. But when it comes to people who are determining how our health sector is run, we are quick to dismiss them. Yet President William Ruto was in that former government that he consistently tries to scapegoat. And it is at this point that we need to just say this.
All right.
If you are a member of parliament and there are projects or policies that your former member started, you continue with them. And if you are going to change, then let it be in a sequence that will not be injurious to the masses. If you are a governor, try and complete those projects. If you are a president, please be able to do and work on those projects to completion. The issue about Tana River County, why it worries me, is because this is a second-time governor. He should be able to deal with this with these issues. It is not a first time, so that he says this ones were started by the other governor. This is a second-time governor, and indeed something needs to happen. We need to see further investigations into this. And again, even the Auditor General and members of the public should be able to tell in another 1 year, where are these projects? Where have we gotten with these projects that the Auditor General raised issues about?
Right. In fact, I want to hear from Honorable Barasa, but let's also pick what the public says.
He's the next governor of Bungoma.
The public has a saying now, and I don't know if it's a culture, or Senator here will also help me understand, because when President Ruto would go around commissioning some of the projects that began when he was deputy president, some sections of politicians would say, there is nothing that he is doing. Show us what you have started by yourself. Such remarks. Is it that when you continue the project, what Honorable Kibagendi is saying, you seem to not be working because it is not your your idea from the onset? And also, of course, you can weigh in on Tana River for that matter.
This is a very good headline. And it's not just in Tana River, but it is throughout the country. And I will blame two institutions.
All right.
For this mess of pending bills, stalled projects.
Okay.
I will blame the Senate of Kenya and the control of budget. If you read our laws, and I want to challenge the Senate of the Republic of Kenya, there is no legal framework that protects those projects that were initiated and no money is allocated to. I'll give you an example of the National Government CDF Act. When you come up with a project proposal for this financial year and you allocate money, and that proposal is approved, the next financial year, there is no proposal that will be approved unless you put money to the projects that are undergoing. Until you finish them, that's when the new proposal will be approved. We must have a law enacted by the Senate of the Republic of Kenya that requires county government for them to forward a proposal to the control of budget for approval. They must demonstrate that they have allocated enough money to complete the previous projects that have garbled some amount of money before they are allowed to initiate the new ones. Government exists in perpetuity. So when you have a new governor being sworn in office, when that governor forwards a proposal or draft of projects to be done to be approved by the control of budget, there should be no approval until there is an audit between the previous proposal that was forwarded to this office by the previous governor, the outgoing governor, to ensure that there enough funds has been allocated to complete the previous project. Because if you blame the ESCC and the DCI, there is no law that criminalizes failure to allocate funds to an already approved project. Because, you get my point. But the control of budget has the key. He can say, no, I am not going to approve this project until enough funds have been put on this particular project. Now, let me tell you how the Senate of Kenya has been wasting time, including my very good friend, Danson Mungatana.
Okay, wasting time.
They have been summoning national government ministers. They summon Professor Kithure Kindiki, they summon CS Treasury, they summon CS Education. What they should be doing is they should be summoning the CECs of county governments, because their role is to oversight the county government, the 47 county governments. You cannot oversight the county governments without summoning the CECs to appear before the Senate of Kenya, explain what they are doing with the pending bills, explain why they have not allocated money to some of those toll projects. So even as my good friend Senator Mungatana is complaining about Tana River County, what I want to tell you, Honorable Dasun Mungatana, is that you will get an answer if you will summon the CEC in charge of economic planning of Tana River County, if you will summon the CEC in charge of finance of Tana River County, so that he can explain what they are doing to ensure that they have enough money to complete the toll project.
Okay.
The Senate is, nobody will demean you that because you are summoning, a CEC is a very important person. You cannot oversight the county government without summoning the CECs. So you should,
maybe I can come.
You should not be
I'll
wasting time to summon ministers of national government.
I can educate
there is no CEC that has ever appeared before the Senate of Kenya to respond to queries.
Let us
because
hear.
the Senate of Kenya has been
feeling
big.
Can I give you?
Let me finish. Then you will have your. You will have your time.
But you're misleading the public on
the
that one.
CECs are important persons.
I allow him to respond to that before you go to the next
because
point.
what you are saying is
because
just
it sits in the Senate.
Not
we need to
provided
understand
for
how it works.
in law. And let me just, I'm not speaking to you only, but for the benefit of Kenyans listening out there, the role of the Senate includes oversighting the funds that go all the way to the county. And sometimes you cannot, for example, discuss health, without sitting down the CS in charge of health. So Nakumita should come and explain why, for example, the referral hospitals are also on strike, why the government signed the CBA and things like that. Equally, the COG, the Council of Governors, through the chair of health, also has appeared before the health committee of the Senate. And just to correct what Mheshimiwa Didimas is saying, there are two levels of oversight in the county. We have the county members of assembly, and we also have the Senate. So for us, the point of contact at the Senate is the county governor. The chief executive officer, the county governor, is the one who is supposed to deal with us. And we have talked to them in many I think it's public knowledge that these governors keep coming before various committees, especially the Committee of Finance chaired by Honorable Senator Kajwang, and the Committee on Investment Committee, Senate Investment Committee, that is chaired by Senator Osotsi, Honorable Chairman Osotsi. So We don't deal with CECs because when the governor comes, he comes with his CECs, the relevant CECs.
All right.
And for the Senate Investment and Special Funds Committee for the Honorable Sourcing, even like when you are looking at special funds, like the ones that are allocated to, for example, the water entities, like in Tana River, we have the Tawasco, Tana Water and Sanitation. So when those ones are coming, they come with the governor or they come on themselves, when we are dealing with special funds. But we do not interrogate CECs because that is the role of the county assembly. We don't take over the work of the county assembly because the constitution is very clear on who we should investigate, who we should interrogate.
Senator Mungatana is completely misleading the country.
All right.
He has said...
because I can read the three roles of the Senate.
Let me finish.
All right.
He has said that there is no law that allows them
to directly
summon the
directly.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Both the houses of parliament, by law, they have capacity...
Which article? We have the constitution.
They have read the role. They have the capacity to summon anybody. This one is in our standing orders. Both the Senate and National Assembly. The Senate and the National Assembly has powers to summon anybody to appear before them on any matter.
Yes, but what
let me qualify my statement.
Barasa, what I've told you...
A committee chaired by Desmond Makatana himself, they summoned Pastor Ezekiel Odera, a pastor of a church. They summoned him.
That was an ad hoc committee dealing with what? Dealing with religious matters.
Parliament and the National Assembly has got power.
We should take turns, gentlemen.
Before it.
All right, gentlemen. For the sake
when
of
you
the
summon,
viewer,
wait,
yes.
Doris. When you summon the governor over a financial matter, you summon him with the CEC in charge. We don't summon the CEC.
It's not necessary.
Even the CEC will be shocked because, you see, let me tell you, there are things the CEC cannot answer. Definitely he cannot answer for mismanagement of the funds because it is not in his purview. The person who signs off checks after the county assembly has passed the money is the governor. It's not the CECs. If we summon CECs, what will the county assembly committees be doing?
Which check in Kenya?
Right.
We should be honest.
Let us be factual.
Which governor in Kenya signs a check for payment?
No, I'm saying, this is an expression. I've said when the county assembly passes the money, it is the check is passed now to the governor to sign, which means, this is English. When I say he has been given authority to spend the money, it is what I'm saying. He has been given the power to spend. When I say the check now can be signed by the governor, it doesn't mean that he signs. The money goes to him according to the approved budget from the county assembly. And so when we are calling him, we call him to answer according to the monies that have been approved and the allocations that were approved by the county assembly and the utilization of those funds. Because if you allocate this amount of money and then that money is not utilized according to the plan, then you have questions to answer.
All right, because civic education is part of this conversation, Senate's overall function is to protect the interests of the counties and their governments. Article 96 of the Constitution, from what I'm reading, provides that the Senate has a role in number 1, lawmaking, number 2, determining allocation of national revenue among counties as per the Article 217 of the Constitution and overseeing national revenue allocated to county governments, and considering and determining any resolution to impeach the president, deputy president, as per the provisions of Article 145 and 150 of the Constitution, respectively. Gentlemen, it's important that we've had this conversation today. But also Kenyans have understood that the CECs are very important in this conversation, and they should be held to account. There are different Kenyans who are talented in different ways. So they bring out cartoons also on the dailies to speak their language in their own way. And I highlight some of this, but even as I bring it to the screen, Honorable Kibagendi, let's start with you. You can just see it on the screen. I'm not sure why the politician, let me not start from there, but what you're seeing on the screen, Honorable Kibagendi, your personal opinion, your interpretation of this cartoon of the day.
When we politicians, we like getting credit for a lot of things sometimes. This is a funeral where a politician is trying to impress the family or probably excite the masses that are seated in the during a funeral program, trying to say that, you know, we just spoke the other day, and he had told me he's coming to visit me. We just spoke the other day, and he had mentioned to me that he had asked me to forgive him, you know, and many other stories that we get to hear when we go for funerals, or even those that are televised. So it is something that is it's a culture that needs to come to an end. If you haven't spoken to someone in a long time and they unfortunately succumb, just attend the funeral. You don't have to tell the fake stories. It is so cliche, because this happens literally in every funeral that we go to. The other day we lost our General Gola, and we had a number of politicians who had things to say about their last encounter with the former general, and with the fallen general. So that is what the Kenyan here is trying to say. But I'm impressed with the person that is lying in the coffin saying, hey, stop lying. We haven't spoken for the past 1 year. I wish the dead could speak so that they embarrass some of us who try to come up with such stories.
All right, saying some of us, and you know that amounts to all of you on this table, because not once, twice, politicians have said what is said in the dais is just for politics. Honorable Barasa, this interpret this cartoon for us in your own eye.
You know, let me tell you.
And it's not a headline.
Yes, it's not a headline. We mourn the dead. We mourn the dead within our, you know, it's driven, how we mourn the dead is driven by our culture. You know, the African culture is that even when you know the dead person was a very bad person, he was a witch doctor or something, he did so many bad things. When you go there, you go to attend this funeral with one role: to comfort the bereaved, to speak to the bereaved, to speak hope to the bereaved. So you don't expect to go there and saying, this man lying here, he had my debt, he's never even paid me, he was a very bad man, he was a very bad person. So that culture of praising the dead will not stop. Because when you praise the dead, you are speaking some kind of life to those that are living, to those that have lost him. That's why, even when somebody who has taken his own life, for whatever reason, even the bad man from the village who is known for doing very bad things, you will never see somebody stand and say, the man lying here is good that he has died, it's good that he has gone, he was a very bad fella, and I know wherever he's lying in hell because he did the ABCD, even when that person has just left prison or he died in prison. So this cartoon, as much as the person who developed it may have wanted to drive a particular narrative, but I think praising the dead when he has died, acting in a manner that you want to comfort the hearts of the bereaved is something good to do. You know, you can't go to a funeral of somebody and say this was a very bad person.
Last week I talked to this great man lying here, and he even asked me to forgive him. So this person might have done something wrong.
Let me tell you.
But he asked for forgiveness, admitting that he did something wrong.
Let me tell you. If that person says so, not just a politician, because there are very many people who speak in funerals, you know. But even for this politician, the cartoonist need to explain, there is no tool in this country that you can measure whether what the person is saying is true or false.
All right.
How do you know maybe this person has died? How do you know that they never talked? Maybe they talked, you know. How do you tell that whatever is what somebody is saying there is saying lies? You know, we should stop feeding our imaginations. in terms of that if I feel that this Kibagendi was not talking with the so-and-so, and therefore when he appears in such a funeral and say, we even talked last week, how we should not be quick to assume that Kibagendi is lying, because we were not there.
Okay. Before Mungatana, one thing.
Very briefly.
One thing that we also need to, last week I was here and the politician again had a big tummy. This week I'm here, the politician has a big tummy. We are politicians here. And none of us seems to be.
Unless I ask you to
have a
stand.
big tummy.
Okay, Doris, the topic of death is very personal to me. And I like to say that I thank God that in our family we've had very minimal experiences with death. So when my father died, it was a big hit for me. I took a very big hit. And I remember going to the funeral, and there is an old friend of mine who he didn't say a word throughout the funeral. He came and sat next to me. He would stand with me. He would sit with me. And the one thing I remember him doing is to put his hand here on me. And also, at some point, he would hold my left hand or put his hand here. And for whatever reason, the effect was tremendously powerful. Just holding my hand. And I remember in that particular funeral, I am a political leader.
Right.
But I couldn't speak. I just, and you see, for us, we are taught that men don't cry, and you don't cry in public. But I saw tears coming down my face, and I couldn't stop. You see, for whatever reason, I couldn't stop. So what I learned from that experience, and I thank you, Sammy, if you are listening to me, that attending funerals to comfort people is a very important thing to do, especially if you are a leader and you have a following within that region. Some people think it is politics, some people think, but just going there and just greeting the lady if it is the husband who has passed away,
Right.
greeting the children if it is their dad who has passed away, and you know, you don't have to promise anything, because we always feel like politicians, we feel like we need to say, I'll take care of the school fees and so on. Maybe we don't have the budget for it. So, but what you have, that's what I do.
Okay.
I give what I have right there, and I make sure I shake the hand of the person who is most affected.
The bereaved, yes.
The family. If it is the husband or the wife who has gone, you know, like that, and the children, and I leave. But you know, as a politician, when you stand there, you must also remember, when you are before your voters, they expect you, yes, to comfort, but they expect you also to say something about what they send you to Nairobi to do. And if you are the governor, what you are doing in the county.
Okay.
So just a small thing that maybe if you are an MP, for example, you say, the road or the school that is here, it's within this budget, we have allocated this amount, or it is going to be constructed. If I'm a senator, I would be saying something like, we are fighting for this amount of allocation, or we don't want the government.
In the funeral?
In the funeral. You
Okay.
have to say something about your office, you know.
All right.
You have to say something, because after you have comforted, the people want to hear, because not all of them are as connected to the funeral, family funeral, as the immediate members of the family. And when you stand there, like one of the things I always do is to say, he was a great teacher if he was a teacher, and we need to emulate. And so you would say whatever it is that you think is a good thing about him, not bad things like Mheshimiwa has said.
All right.
And then if you have a statement, a brief statement about what you're doing, if there's an important debate going on, you need to inform the people, because the people expect you as an office not to speak just like the way the pastor has spoken, not the way the family has spoken. After you've done the comforting, you need to say one thing or two about your office, then you sit down.
All right. So
and
generally,
also, just a summary in
yes.
about 20 seconds. Every human being, you have got two sides,
okay.
just like the coin. You have your positive side and your negative side. So even when you are an employee of an institution, and even at some points you are demoted, you are de-whipped, when you rest, your employer will disregard the bad side of yourself.
Yes.
And they will focus on the positive side. So that's why you see it is not out of the blues that when politicians are eulogizing the fallen heroes or people who have rested, they only focus on the positives of that person. It is not unusual.
Okay, but also, Honorable Kibagendi, as I go into the soapbox, here in the media, and I will speak as a media personality, when we have you on this particular seats, we task you to make clear what you said in other podiums. Sometimes you say, well, that was just politics, but the level of impact it had on the electorate could be massive. I have heard before that it is okay for a politician to lie when it is necessary to lie. Honorable Kibagendi, it is just politics, they say.
No, we are not. We are not supposed to lie, although it has become a culture of the association that these two wonderful gentlemen belong to. Lying is inappropriate as a politician. Just say things as they are. Right. While we comfort the families, there is one thing there that we have not focused on. When they say, we spoke last week, such like things that are not truthful, that even the masses, even the mourners in that funeral are able to tell that that is not true, and that is why this cartoon has come up. Yeah. Being on a podium as a politician and telling lies is wrong.
So Kenyans should hold you to account.
Yes, Kenyans should hold you to account, and that is the problem I consistently have with Kenya Kwanza and its associates, including the ones we are sitting with on this.
I was restrained to say anything against my very good friend.
You don't say anything against me.
But because of his consistent labeling of us in UDA as being liars, I want to say this. In 2017, Honorable Kibagendi was our very close friend. He ran for a seat, he lost. We promised him, the then Deputy President, who is the President of Kenya, William Ruto, promised him that I will accommodate you. Don't worry. He lived by what he told him. He was offered a position in his office as the Director for Youth Strategy and all those kind of things. He served there throughout the period from 2017 to around 2019 towards 2022, when he resigned to go and run for a member for office. Honorable Kibagendi told us every single minute that he will run on our UDA party. We will organize some money for him, some support for him, projects that he will run for on our UDA party. The guy abandoned us. He ran on ODM. So he confirmed to us that he is actually the liar. And let me tell you, when you have a man who is fond of cheating on his wife, the man will think that even the wife is also cheating. Yes. So when the wife goes to fetch water, the man will climb on the top of the roof of the tree to look at which person this lady is speaking with, who have stopped to have a chat with. So, Honorable Kibagendi, when you are a liar, you lie to us. Don't assume that everybody is a liar. We are not liars.
On the issue.
Just respond, and then I can.
Now, my association with the president or former president, and even Didmas here. Indeed, when I was in the office of the deputy president as an advisor, we are still good friends, and he even used to give me a project or two. But do you want me to continue looking at them lying to Kenyans, and I clap for them? Kenya is behind in their promises and in their projects. We have pending bills. We have issues that are unresolved. The Kenya Kwanza government promised that when they get in, they'll not increase taxes. That one we have the president saying that when he was campaigning. But what he did when he got in, the first thing he did was increase taxes. Number two, the Kenya Kwanza and its associates said they would reduce on the cost of education. When they got in, what have they done? They've increased the cost of education.
Is that what we are discussing?
Number three,
you challenged him why he moved.
Why I'm saying they are liars.
Can he show us where he said he will lower the taxes?
Jobs. Instead, we are losing jobs because of increased taxation and increased levies. So when he says that because I switched, it was purely about kuskiza ground, yeah? My ground, when I listened to it, and again, frustration.
You don't have to rise to the level of picking money from
some of his friends, frustrations that I faced in UDA, that I was one of the architects, that pushed me out of that party. And even within there, still, there were a lot of lies. And they should stop lying that I was picking money and...
Let me say something.
So after Mungatana, you'll allow me to take the soapbox?
Yes. Let me say this. You know, I'm the only UDA senator in the entire 6 counties of the coast. So every time you mention UDA is lying and whatever, you are actually attacking me. You know, so I wanted to say this. On jobs, the president, who is the head of our plan, we have actually created jobs, because he said it is possible for us to grow the economy. You have a very good GDP, and yet there are no jobs being created. We have to be deliberate about job creation. And what did we do? We started with the plan for affordable housing. Very many
Which
young
was
people.
challenged.
Yeah, but it is ongoing.
Okay.
Let me finish, Doris. Right. A lot of young people have gotten jobs through this particular, project. The president put money in digital economy, which is headed by CS Owalo. A lot of people are making money from the digital economy, and it is young people, in fact, who are making money a lot of in that sector. The president, for the first time since independence, for us at the coast, he put a lot of money in blue economy. And in blue economy, Doris, you know, maybe these ones who are not staying by the waters, the big waters, don't know what it means. But our fishermen, the small guys, were given a lot of equipment. They're able to go in, fish, and increase their stock, increase the money they make. Our fishermen were given, and those people who want to work in the sea were given training in Bandari College for free, so that those who want to work in international waters and those who want to work with ships that are moving out there, they are able to get, they go there with proper qualifications, and they are feeding their family. This president has put in money in mining. And you know, my mother comes from Taita Taveta County. We have opened a huge mining center in Voi. And many people, you know, they bought those machines that instead of now selling your rock, you know, for almost nothing, if you just brush it a bit using those machines, you can make actually 5 times the value of the rare mineral that you collected. And those artisan miners in the coast and maybe other places, they have gotten good money from. So I'm talking about jobs. And then let me remind Mheshimiwa that the Honorable CS Bore, the one in charge of labor, has negotiated many agreements, you know, bilateral agreements between Kenya and other countries, where labor exportation is happening for those who are interested, because there are some who may not be interested in going to work outside. But we are protecting our labor and we are increasing our opportunities. Germany is supposed by June to be taking over 250,000 positions. They have offered them in our bilateral agreement. Me, I'm talking facts. So the issue of repeating that people are jobless, what the president has said in many occasions, whenever we have our parliamentary group meetings, he says, please be aggressive.
Okay.
Go and find out the opportunities that are there. National Employment Authority, the president has started the process of constructing a very big center.
All right.
You know, I can go on and on and on. Let me tell Mheshimiwa that it is very good to say things for the sake of, getting public sympathy, but because we are also here educating people, it is good to tell them that in fact, please get into the government websites, the National Employment Authority. Look at what you have and help our people to get where they need to get.
Now,
that is but that is one thing. He talked about the cost of education.
Okay, I want to come to the cost of education.
Let me finish, Mheshimiwa. Let me finish.
You cannot continue lying again.
No, cost of education. No, learn to listen, Mheshimiwa. No, let me have a Kibagendi, you cannot have your cake and eat it. I'm saying the cost of education. He raised. Whenever you see a politician trying to jump, it's because I'm telling them the facts and he doesn't want to listen. But Kenyans out there are interested in listening.
Indeed.
What I'm trying to say is that you must distinguish, when you are before national television, we are not in a political rally. And then we are also not campaigning. So I don't need to say bad things about ODM or whatever. Let us debate the issues. When you say the cost of education has increased, or when you say taxes have increased, let me ask you,
But have they?
No, I want you to see the way things are, because, Doris, if I am starting a bakery, or I'm starting a matatu business, or I'm starting a fishing business, or like in our place, we do a lot of, camels and animals and also agriculture. I invest, my friend. I invest. You cannot get money without investing. So when we were saying that we need to invest, for example, invest in subsidizing production as opposed to subsidizing the consumption. People were laughing at the president. Oh, this country, taxes are increasing, what. But we made a decision as an administration that let us subsidize fertilizer. Let us not subsidize the cost of the millers. And when we were doing that, our colleagues in the opposition were saying, look, Ruto is mismanaging the economy, is doing what. But then when we gave the subsidized fertilizer, of course, it has had its fair share of scandal.
All right.
But when we gave it, the amount of money, the amount of the bags of maize that came out, we had over 60 million in terms of the production that we came in. So when people were saying we are increasing the taxes, because of the affordable housing, look at the number of jobs that it has created.
All right.
And look at the spurring of the economy. You cannot at any rate start, a business without sacrificing. So this is what we are saying. Other countries like Singapore, other countries that have made it, they have made sacrifices as a nation.
All right.
And we are saying, and this is maybe, let me just sign off by what the president said.
Yes, so
the president said, we are not in the business of popularity. We are in the business of governing. Sometimes we will make hard decisions, and those hard decisions, they may be unpopular, but at the end, we all benefit. Look at the prices of fuel now. Look at the food production cost that has gone down. Look at what is happening in the country. We have taken a better turn because of the hard decisions that we have had to make as an administration.
All right.
So it's not lies, it is just program. We may not agree with you.
Now, on the issue of employment, you can only get the statistics from KNDS and Federation of Kenya Employers.
Right.
And they have consistently said we have been losing jobs consistently. When you'll get a chance to speak, because you look, I just wanted to try.
Interjected. I allowed you to interject, Barasa, when you needed to.
Look here.
Yes.
These are facts, and the 2.6 million Kenyans, graduates, university graduates, who are out here without jobs, and another 3-4 million young people who don't have jobs, who have different levels of qualifications, are all not fundis to go and work in mjengos. And number two, how many people will work in a construction site that is so mechanized nowadays? The contractors that are being given these opportunities to construct these houses are top contractors. Now, in the past, we used to have people who do mkorogo at the construction sites. Nowadays, it is vehicles that have those machines on their backs that actually do you know. So what we are saying is this: genuinely, because of inappropriate policies, right now in the steel industry in Kenya, over 30,000 jobs have been lost because of inappropriate policies that have increased taxes in that particular sector. I'm talking about, these are facts. Number two, when you talk about jobs that are emanating from the West, you know,
exported labor?
Yeah, which is a very good thing.
Yes.
That is how South Korea actually developed, through exporting skilled labor. That is something that we are supposed to applaud. But look here, when the government realized that we don't have jobs, Kenyans are looking for jobs abroad, what do? They increase the cost of the passport. It is just about further and more frustration of these young Kenyans. They increase the cost of accessing a passport. They have brought in some levies so that, again, they take advantage of this of these Kenyans. So what we are saying is this, and even he's talking about food. He does not realize in the period since Kenya Kwanza came into power, how many times have they given subsidized, donated fertilizer to Kenyans?
I think that's
they did it once, but we've had 3 seasons. Look here.
We had the chairperson of the Agriculture Committee National Assembly here. He explained why that
look here.
The
other thing, yes, he explained.
Yes.
But the other thing I would like to say about food, which we need to thank God for, is the rains, prolonged long rains, which have helped us have food. Even now that we have overproduced,
right,
we even have they been consistent in ensuring proper storage so that when we don't have the rains, the prices can remain the same? No, they have no policies. They have this trivial excitement around seeking societal approval for the moment, instead of thinking about the future, instead of thinking about the moment, the present, and the future. So the truth is this: Kenya Kwanza has not created the jobs they said they would create. Kenya Kwanza has increased taxes and they said they were going to reduce. Kenya Kwanza has increased the cost of education, and the cost of living has gone high, despite the cost of international oil prices going down, despite the cost of the dollar the shilling strengthening against the dollar. The cost of living is still high.
Inflation
and
has gone down.
The only way to deal with the cost of living is President William Ruto to reduce taxes. All these other factors, he does not have control.
Thank you, Honorable Kibagendi.
I have
briefly, before we take the soapbox,
yeah,
we still have the
and
time.
Focus on facts. Don't talk about me.
Allow the panelists
you can't direct
themselves.
me on what to say. You say what to say. I say what I want to say.
In respect of the viewer,
Kenya, we have a population of more than 52 million. We only have 2 sectors that can employ millions of Kenyans. These sectors is agriculture and the Juakali sector. There is no any other that can employ millions of Kenyans apart from these 2 sectors. The agricultural sector, Kenya Kwanza government has subsidized farm inputs. That subsidizing of farm inputs, now very many Kenyans are going to their farms. That is an employment that has been created. The Juakali sector that absorbs also millions of Kenyans. The affordable housing has created millions of jobs. And let me explain.
Millions of jobs.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No. Let me tell you. Your problem is that you interject. When let me finish. Let me finish saying why I'm saying it has employed millions of jobs. There are very many units that are being constructed here. Who are the people who are supplying the machine card stones? Are Kenyans. From the quarries, the people who are working in the quarries, The quarry owners and entrepreneurs will employ people to cut more stones because they have got, the market for the stones. Mama Mboga even selling there, they are parading their wares around the construction sites. The fundis who are constructing their sites, where they are buying cement, where they are buying nails, where they are buying timber. The ripple effect of a single construction cannot be understated in the employment that is being created here. When you are talking about the government creating employment, it is not just limited to those people who are on payslip, but it extends to the thousands and millions of Kenyans who have had a chance to sell what they are producing from their farm, what they are producing from their small workshop. Once they have a market, we will say that jobs has been created. Today, Anki, Kenya as a country, our economy stands at 104 billion shillings. We are number 7 in Africa. You know, we are number 7 in Africa. And the 6 countries that lie ahead of us, we are almost overtaking Morocco, which stands at 152 billion. So the other 5 countries, 5 countries whose economy is above 200 billion. Once we break to number 4, number 3, number 4, and we're able to push our economy to around to over 200 billion, I can tell you this country will change. All
right, Honorable Barasa, from the information I have, just January 24th, of course, President William Ruto affordable housing project was to create about 750,000 jobs for Kenyan youth. Public Service Cabinet Secretary then, Moses Kuria, said. You talked about millions.
You know, let me tell you.
I'm looking for...
Let me tell you.
Because even in the estimate that was given...
You know, I'm a student, I'm doing PhD. So I'm very good in research.
Okay. The millions
the jobs,
is the question.
Okay, let me tell you.
Yes.
The jobs which the government communicated to 750,000.
Yes.
Those are direct jobs that contains plumbers, electrician, masons. When I'm saying that affordable housing has created millions of jobs, I am going beyond those that are directly working on those individual projects to those who are selling machine card stones, who are selling cement, who are selling timber, who are selling iron seeds, building materials. So when you begin to think in terms of how many Kenyans have benefited, how many Kenyans are affording to put food on the table by getting a shilling or 2 from the very many affordable housing construction that is going on in this country, then those are millions.
All right. Allow me to take a very short break. Honorable Kibagendi,
on the issue
I have to take a commercial break.
Allow me. A million jobs.
It might be shallow if I cut you short as I take this break. So allow me to...